Hi, I'm Eleanor and I'm a finalist in the Big Bang Competition 2026. My project is about using Electron Paramagnetic Resonance, or EPR, to reduce food waste. In 2021, 10.2 million tonnes of food was wasted in the UK alone. That's worth over £22.3 billion. The government plans to halve food waste by 2030. However, since 2021, the actual amount has been increasing. Approximately 4.4 million tonnes of household food thrown away each year could have been eaten. Surveys showed that 22% of this food was thrown away because it looked or smelled off, while another 17% was thrown away because it was past the date on the label. There are two types of date labels on food. The first is use-by-date labels. Perishable foods like fish and chicken must be stored properly at 4 degrees Celsius or less. You must use or freeze them by midnight on the date shown on the label. Using food left just 1 second past midnight poses a serious risk of food poisoning from dangerous food bacteria like Salmonella and Listeria, which can't be seen, smelt, or tasted. Therefore, the food must be thrown away. The second type of food labels are best before labels. These appear on non-perishable foods. Best before labels tell people when food might start to noticeably degrade in quality. After the date, you can look at it, smell it, and taste it to judge whether you still want to eat it. After a while, it might taste funny, but eating or cooking it shouldn't be harmful. Some people don't understand or feel confident enough to decide for themselves. They simply bin the food that has passed its best before date, even though its quality hasn't started to decline yet. Instead, if people could measure the decline in food quality for themselves, then they would not throw away good food and best before labels would not be needed anymore. Free radicals in food increase when the food degrades over time. In the 1950s, people noticed that the skin of American pilots who flew at high altitudes aged faster than expected. The skin damage looked similar to that caused by radiation exposure. At high altitudes, the pilots were breathing 100% oxygen and were exposed to lots of UV radiation. Rebecca Gershman, a scientist at the time, thought she knew why. She experimented on mice, creating similar conditions to the ones the pilots were in, using X-rays instead of UV. She found that mice exposed to a combined dose of X radiation and high oxygen died first. The mice exposed to high X radiation and an average concentration of oxygen died next. Finally, the mice exposed to a high concentration of oxygen also died. Gershman theorized that radiation splits pairs of oxygen atoms, O2, in half, leaving each atom with 2 unpaired electrons. In this simple example, UV radiation splits a chlorine molecule into 2 chlorine atoms, which are both free radicals. One of these chlorine-free radicals interacts with a methane molecule to produce hydrogen chloride and a methyl radical. The methyl radical then reacts with a chlorine molecule, forming a chloromethane molecule and another chlorine-free radical. This process then repeats. Chain reactions between molecules like this makes free radicals harmful inside of cells. In food, they denature molecules so that they taste different or are less nutritionally valuable. Electrons have a property called spin, which is a bit like rotation clockwise or anti-clockwise. The half arrow pointing up shows this electron is spin up. The spin produces a magnetic field. This half arrow pointing down shows this is a spin down electron. The magnetic fields of an up and a down spin electron are opposite and cancel each other out when they form a pair in the same orbital around an atom. Single oxygen atoms or oxygen radicals have 6 electrons. These all produce magnetic fields. But the fields of the 2 paired electrons in the outer shell cancel each other out, and the fields of the 2 paired electrons in the inner orbital cancel each other out. But the magnetic fields of the 2 unpaired electrons do not cancel out. When a magnetic field is applied to a single electron, the electron's magnetic field aligns with it. Only 2 states are possible for the electron to be in: spin up or spin down. A spin down electron sits in a low energy state. The alternative possible state, spin up, requires the electron to have more energy as the magnetic fields repel each other. If just the right amount of energy is supplied, the downspin electron is able to absorb it, giving it enough energy to repel the magnetic field and flip it into the anti-parallel state. If the energy is released again, the electron returns back to the parallel state. When a sample is put into an EPR machine, the lone electrons align with the magnetic field. Packets of energy are released, passing through the sample. If you subtract the amount of energy detected from the amount emitted, you get the amount of free radicals in the food. This is a measure of how much the food has deteriorated by. If you would like to try out how this might work and play the free radical game, come and see me at the NEC Birmingham on the 9th of June.